Hey Moogles, it's Dr. T here, and I'm just checking in for another upgrade. Let's do a multi-million dollar upgrade today and really get ourselves into a next level that has the ability to produce millions of more dollars in our lives over our lifetime and millions of dollars of value in how our life can be. All right, so the upgrade we're looking at today and we're working on is in the category of beliefs. And that is because we are taught so many different things about beliefs. We're taught we have to believe this in order for things to happen. And we understand there's so much around beliefs. And I want to simplify this so that you can be in a relationship with beliefs and how they work that will help you make the reality you intend. So there's so much talk about like you have to believe, you have to believe, you have to believe. And while that is incredibly helpful that we believe that something can happen, we also have plenty of evidence that shows us that we can be focused on it, still struggle a bit with our true belief in it, still keep thinking, well, maybe something else will happen, right? This entertaining, see the other options. And we've all had plenty of stuff in our lives, and we've seen other people have it where the thing still works out, still turns out, still comes out successful. So we got to get clear about just how beliefs work. So, what I invite you to just receive as an upgrade instead of feeling like you must believe or something will not work and struggling with that, like, but I don't believe, I kind of think this other stuff might happen. Instead of thinking about, I need to believe it so much, I'm going to have you connect with, I need to program it that much. Right? So you may be programmed with so much programming, which you are, that has different beliefs and things that were just delivered to you, whether when you were aware, not aware, mostly not aware. And you're even got beliefs within yourself, within your own reality field that are just also just getting absorbed by everyone else's beliefs, whether they talk about them or not. You're literally just absorbing the reality of what humans believe is possible, which is why we all love when somebody shows us that human beings, humanity can actually do more than we thought we could do. So it would be much more productive if we were all told that you just need to program it rather than like you need to believe it. Well, what if I don't? What if I'm trying? What if these other beliefs are in conflict and I can't quite fully believe it? Well, then oh, well, now it's never going to happen. Well, this is not true. So, more than thinking about I need to believe something for it to happen and putting so much pressure on that, the invitation is that you're going to program it to happen. Because otherwise, we say, well, I need to believe it. You spend 5 seconds on, I believe it. No, but you really don't. And then you're not programming it the way that it would would actually benefit you more. So rather than just buying into like, I have to just believe everything and you're still like on your way to it, I'm going to invite you to just connect to, I'm going to program the things that I intend to happen, to have the things that I'm really invested in. Programming it looks different. Instead of being like, well, I think I believe it, I might not, but I'm going to go just work like crazy and maybe I believe it, maybe I don't. Programming it is different. This is where, like, say you've got some business goal that you're going for. This is where you put it in your reality immersively. So, especially if something feels like it is far out of your range of what you believe is possible. Even more important to program it. So, say there was this goal, say it's a number goal that you want to hit. Most importantly is to immerse in that. So clearly you'd be like immersing in it within your company, within your leadership, within your discussions and communications. But you really want to go immersively, especially when you're reprogramming an entire set of programming that you've had before, things that may cause you to not believe in something or entertain other options happening. is you go so immersively that like you'd be watching, if you're watching TV, you're going to watch shows about it. If you're listening to YouTube, you're going to listen to a YouTube about it. If you're going to read something, you're going to read about it. Uh, if you're going to have a conversation with people, you're going to converse about it. As annoying as that might sound, it's really it's all about how much you're willing to program your reality into happening, to materialize it, manifest it, generate it. So we want to go immersively into it. Because guess what? The original beliefs that you had, which could be in the way, consciously, subconsciously, of what you're trying to do, and they're always blocking you for some reason, they were just programmed. It's not like they are literally the facts of the universe. They were just some human's interpretation that just got programmed. And that was that time in history that someone had an interpretation, and then also, we're still on it, even though evolution is happening every single moment and things are upgrading. So all that ever happened, all the belief is something you got programmed for. So let's just get it clearer that we're just programming more of what the reality is, because ultimately this is your reality programming. That reality does this, it works like this. We can only do this. We can only run this fast of a mile, this fast of a 100-yard dash. We can only do this. Somebody just programmed it, but guess what? It's like other people are programming that anything's possible and doing it. And the only difference is their programming. You call it a belief or whatever, but I like to simplify it. It's programming. Okay, so I really invite you, with your relationship to beliefs, to really begin to replace that and open up to the concept of just programming it, just immersing in it. Because all we have to do to believe in something or be so wholeheartedly like connected to it that of course we know it's the only option that's going to happen, is we immerse in it. And we know that. We know that, and yet we make these things extra complicated. And it's like, well, what if I say I believe it? What if I don't believe? It's too complicated. So let's go with the fact that you can just program it. You can immerse in it. You can talk to yourself and talk yourself into it. You can talk to other people and say, this is what's happening. This is what I'm intending. This is the only thing I'm entertaining. You can do it in all of your marketing and all of your communications. And you can do it with everything you take in. And what happens is, over the course of enough immersion, the saturation point happens. It begins to like completely stop resisting that this reality can happen. The saturation point happens. And now it's like, that's what the new programming is. It's like you're programming. Part of you is resisting. Part of you can feel the effort. You feel the effort. Finally, you do enough of it. Just like you were programmed in the first place, enough of it happens, you ultimately hit a saturation point. Finally, you do enough of the new programming in this case, and you now are programmed into this new reality. So that's all that's happening. Your reality programming is making your reality materially. So you do that enough, and people, tend to think this is such a big deal, so they don't do it. But you do it enough, you get really good at it. So then you can cue yourself to easily program yourself for something even faster than the original first rounds of you doing that. So while you are reprogramming yourself for something, immersing in it, uh, you can absolutely feel the resistance of it. But the more time goes on, you're like, oh God, I'm feeling it. Yes, this is it. I'm feeling it. I'm in that reality. And the more you do that and you get yourself used to the programming process, then when you go, hey, I want to program this thing in, yourself is so primed for that then it goes in easier, time after time after time. Then you're just like, oh, I'm going to program this new reality in. Boom. Now yourself just knows. Receive it, accept it. Now it'll materialize, manifest, and generate it. Very powerful. Beliefs just are too complicated, too overrated. And ultimately, the good news is your programming will then create a reality. It'll then appear to be your belief, but in reality, you just immersed in it, which is just the laws of physics. You immerse in something, you become it. You immerse in something, you are now one with it. You immerse in something, it then just keeps getting created through you. And all of your programming that isn't ideal happen that way. And we're being immersed all day, every day of this reality in every way in a very low frequency reality field in this world, about 200 on the frequency scale, on the Hawkins frequency scale. So we're getting programmed all the time. So to counter that, we want to be in charge of our programming and everything that we need to immerse ourselves in order to have the programming that we want, and also that we would have chosen in the first place if we were the ones choosing all of it and just marinating ourselves in what would just be ideal for humans to have as programming that just helps make their life really easy and make success a foregone conclusion. All right, everyone. So let's make this upgrade that you don't have to believe it for it to happen. You have to program it. You have to become one with it, to immerse in it, connect with it so fully that it then just gets programmed within you and then it'll run in a loop all on its own. It'll just absolutely do that. And it's interesting because we know this with like sports. When I think of all the basketball shots I shot in my life over and over and over until I didn't have to think about it. We drive a car and we have to think about it at first, conscious programming, conscious programming. Eventually, it's unconsciously learned, it's automated. We don't even have to think about driving. In fact, we do 5,000 other things. We don't even know who drove us across town, but it was us. All things can be programmed that way. So you can take any programming you want. Say it's a programming to be a multimillionaire. You program that enough. You keep programming and programming and programming and programming and staying one with it and fully being connected to it. And, saying things like I was thinking somebody will say, oh, it's 1,000% better. Why not say it's 1,000,000% better? Right. So you just get programmed for it. And eventually your system, your whole energy system, what they refer to as your aura, we also refer to it as our nervous system, eventually has that programming and then it just runs it and automates it. And just like we never had to learn to drive again, that can be absolutely in there. But we have to, just like we did with driving, just got to program stuff. It's very important to make the shift, understand that that's the process that makes transformation and makes creation happen. And all the stuff we get that is just like, you can just work, which is a form of programming. The reality is tons of people work their tails off their whole life and never get the reality they intended because they are doing more work than the programming and the immersion, which will then make it, and it'll make you have to actually work less because you programmed more. You don't have, it's a leverage. It's leveraging physics and then it creates itself and then it's just automated. And this is just how you roll. Okay, so if you can do it with driving, if you can do it with other things, sports and things that just were once something you didn't know how to do, you had programmed it, and then now, boom, anytime I see a basketball in a hoop, I can shoot it and make a shot. All right, everyone. It's very, very important. Let's upgrade those beliefs to programs, installations of new programs, immersions of new programs and new software that comes in and just absolutely upgrade you into a new version of reality that will be automated and make more of itself and go on unless you reprogram it into something else. All right, everyone. This is why I absolutely live for programming. I live for transformation. It's really just something I just have always loved to see in myself, team, clients. And I'm excited for you to shift your beliefs into new programming. All right. So thanks everyone for tuning in. I'll see you on the next upgrade. Take care. Bye bye.